I want to thank the news media that's helped get the word out for us. I want to thank also everybody that's helped us. My goodness, we've had Walmart, Sam's, Nissan Arlington, Agape, State of Texas, Costco, Dallas County, HEB have donated water all day long. We'll have water being given out at Lone Star Park all night long and until this issue is resolved. Approximately 1 o'clock yesterday, we fought a fire in our Great Southwest Industrial District. We were at council last night, and Chief Fight showed me some pictures of it. We put the fire out, didn't think another thing about it. Later that night, during the council meeting, the chief came to me and said, "Hey, we've got some foam. Got a call around 4 something. We've got some foam in our water." We didn't tie the two together for a while because we just didn't know what it was. Later that night, after doing some investigations and some more further checking, and after talking with TCEQ, we deduced that we're fairly certain we had a backflow incident while treating the fire and suppressing the fire with foam, which I want to say immediately, it's a non-PFAS foam. We switched about 1.5 years ago to environmentally friendly foam, non-PFAS, but we deduced that we had a backflow incident fighting that fire in the warehouse district. But before we deduced that, and immediately after we found there was foam in the deal, we put out a broadcast saying, do not use the water for anything other than flushing your toilet. Not even don't be showering with it. Don't do anything with it. Once you have a contamination in your water system, you have to start flushing it. You have to start sending samples to TCEQ. So right now, we're in that time frame where we're waiting for TCEQ to tell us what to do next. It's not us, it's not me looking at the water and testing it and saying, hey, it's okay. We may think it's okay. We have to get it tested by TCEQ and their approved labs. So as of now, we're still in the same water situation as we were this morning. No use of our water if you're in that pink map that we have, which is not all of north of 20. It's a segment of north of I-20 in our city. If you're outside of that segment, you can do anything you want. But if you're inside of that segment, do not drink, shower, bathe, anything with it. We'll be giving out water until this is resolved. I do not have a time frame now. We may or may not have to go to a boil, which in my opinion is critical. When you lose water pressure, there's an automatic boil notice. We haven't lost water pressure, and the TCEQ has implied that once we get it flushed, we may not have to go to a boil, because a boil, once you go to a boil, that's another 18 hours. I'm not saying we're not going to have to, but it looks promising that we may not have to. Again, we're all fairly certain that that's where, I mean, the timing is just too close to be random. Fought a fire with the foam. The tower right by it's the one that got the foam in it. Similar attributes. And so out of an abundance of caution, we immediately contacted y'all. Got a hold of most people through Facebook nowadays. Instagram and Facebook's how we let people know. And we take your feeds and copy and paste it on our Facebook. So now I've got Assistant Chief Baldwin here with me. I've got Fire Chief, Assistant Chief, got Police Chief, City Manager. I've got some of my council with me. Mayor Pro Tem Clemson, Councilmember Adams, Councilmember Shotwell, Councilmember Bazunu, our emergency head of our emergency system, Chase Wheeler. So open it up to any questions you have. Having none, we'll go. I'm sorry.
You said that it's a non-toxic, it doesn't have to.
It's environmentally, their website says don't drink it. Their website says if you get it in your eyes, it may be burned, but it says environmentally friendly. You can go to their website. What's the name of the, what the foam is?
It's microblaze.
Microblaze.
It's the most environmentally friendly foam that's on the market today. If you'll go to their website, all of these qualities and values are on their website. So feel free to do that.
And we changed in the last year and a half. I was asked the question, is it the same foam we used years ago out at the big industrial fire we had out at here? Look, and it's different. We've changed. Nearly all fire departments are changing because we learned that fire foam goes down drains and gets out. So they've developed new technology, and we picked that up and changed about a year and a half ago. Microblaze.
And I know you were talking about it being pushed back into the water system.
It's called backflow.
How did the back?
Well, backflow happens when there's a lot of pressure on the system and it starts getting into other pipes, and the pressure, the check valve or whatever valve's there, it overflows it and goes back into the system. Years ago, buildings didn't require check valves and backflow devices. Some of the warehouses that are built out in the Great Southwest, or some homes don't have them. So it's the pressure that is built up, and then it can lead into backflow. So we're almost certain that's what caused this incident, since there's similar things, and all of us protect our water system so much now. It's real hard to get in there, but this we pretty certain it was a backflow incident.
So for people who did bathe last night before they
I wouldn't worry about it.
drink the water,
If somebody drank it last, we haven't had any calls of anybody getting sick. If you go to the website, you'll see that they don't want you drinking it, but it's so mild that it's so diluted. We know there's no way we got the notice to everybody. I've got to assume people showered in it last night. I've got to assume we had some people drink it. We have no incidences of anybody having any health issues. However, out of abundance of caution, do not be drinking the water right now if you're inside of that. Do not be showering with it. Just because somebody did last night before we got notice to them, didn't have any problem with it, please don't get up and do it again in the morning. Follow our guidance out of extreme caution. We got approximately 200,000 people live in the city. This has probably affected 60,000. Our utmost responsibility is the safety of our citizens. And that's why we immediately yesterday evening got out with these notices.
is there any update on if school will be canceled again?
I have heard, I haven't been updated. Somebody told me they're probably going to be closed tomorrow just because we don't think we're going to have enough time. They're going to have enough time. We will be in contact with Dr. Arredondo and the other private schools in that affected area, and they will make that decision. I would be betting money they're closed, but let's wait for them.
Okay, what about activities? I know some parents are upset that there's still football practice.
Oh my goodness. I've got a 10-year-old granddaughter. She'd be extremely upset if she wasn't able to go work out at the gym to do her gymnastics. This is affecting a lot of people's lives. We want kids to be able to go to school. We want everything back to normal. That's not our main goal. Our main goal is to get this fixed as soon as possible and wait on TCEQ. We're not going to drag our feet. We're going to keep flushing that system. We've already flushed it 3 times. The big tank that it all got into. It ain't easy to get every bit of contaminant out of something once you. Just think when you're washing a big old pot at home, you put Dove detergent in it. How many times you got to circle it around with hot water to get it out? Well, we can't put somebody swimming around inside that tank scrubbing the sides. It takes a while to flush it out. We want to get it flushed. We want to get it safe. We want people back to normal.
Mayor, based on the information you have at this point and considering all the process that needs to be followed, when do you expect that normality.
We're thinking tomorrow afternoon sometimes. That's, at the very least, to be given a boil notice. We're hopeful we're not going to get a boil notice. We're hopeful that tomorrow afternoon we can say everything's back to normal. And I may be standing here tomorrow afternoon and say, we're hoping tomorrow afternoon. You know, we're guessing based on how much the level of concentration dropped from the different flushing, and TCEQ will not tell us, hey, you're at 1 point per whatever millions. All you got to do is get it down a little bit lower. They don't tell us that. They have their own rules and regulations, and it's up to them. We're waiting on them right now. I don't want to put the burden on them, but that's where the burden lies right now. Our job is to follow their instructions, and we've got to write some things and continue flushing until they tell us it's clean enough to drink. Make sense?
Yeah, does citywide alert ever go out, like on people's cell phones?
Yes, we did a, Chase, why don't you explain that?
Yeah, absolutely, Mary. So we have a system called Alert GP. It's our city's emergency notification system. It's like a reverse 911 system. What we did is we grabbed everyone that has self-identified or self-subscribed to that system, along with all the residents and businesses that we have water data for. So anyone that's purchased water from our city and we got a bill for you, we got your contact information, and that is what we use to essentially push out that notification of the notice.
When did that go out?
That was shortly after the notification once we came together. I don't have the exact time of it. It was last night though. Yes, ma'am.
And I have a question for the fire chief. With the fire that happened at 1 p.m. that you were showing the mayor photos of, was it significantly large, like multiple alarms, or how would you
Well, once our fire crews arrived on scene, they experienced hoarder-like conditions, which is very unusual in an industrial building. Due to that, we did introduce some foam, and which is not something that we normally do. But in this case, we're still investigating this, but there seems to be a failure of the backflow valve, which normally would not allow this to happen. So that's what occurred at this particular instance.
Can you give that particular location? Would it just be like exact?
I'm sorry?
What's the
valve
particular
in that
location?
Of the building?
area? Yeah, the fire.
Oh, it was at 900 block of Avenue S
Okay.
in our northern industrial district.
Okay. And so you're investigating the valve and
Yes.
that section.
Yes, currently.
I know you touched on this. Can you just walk through, when you say flushing the system, what does that entail?
Well, the way we flush systems, if you've ever been driving around town, sometimes people get upset and they see the fire hydrant open, the water just spewing in the road. Cities routinely flush systems to get the algae out. It's got that fast flow of stuff, so we have to use the same system when we're flushing a water tank. You just can't open the bottom of it and let it run out. So we open up, a number of fire hydrants around that tank to drain it. So when I say flush it, I mean we're draining that whole water tower. And then we have to refill it.
2 million gallons. 2 million gallons.
2 million gallons down the drain.
And that water goes through the wastewater.
That water goes through the wastewater, and yes, and it gets cleaned up and sent back to us later on. Good question.
Will y'all continue flushing?
Until they tell us that we're okay.
And you said ordinarily a backup valve at the warehouse would have caught.
Ordinarily, a backup valve would have prevented this. We don't know if it was a malfunction, or even if they had one. We don't know. Is that a true statement, Baldwin?
Relatively.
Relatively close enough.
We're still investigating it. We just, within the last hour, were able to locate, there was one there. We're still trying to evaluate whether it failed or not. We do not know the answer to that question.
And why did you say you used the foam? Was it hoarder conditions? And when you?
I'm sorry, what?
I was trying to understand why they used the foam. You mentioned-
All right, we usually put fires out with water.
Right.
This had some characteristics that
Yeah.
the
This was
boots on the ground felt like we need to use foam?
It's called a wetting agent. So what it does is, due to the fact that there were hoarder conditions inside of the facility.
Hoarder conditions.
Hoarder conditions.
I saw pictures, you couldn't even walk around.
Yes.
It was,
So in order to try to penetrate the material that was in there, we decided to use the foam through the sprinkler system. That's why we introduced it in the first place. Normally, we do not do that because of access.
What's a hoarder condition?
just like a home that you've walked in, a hoarder that keeps everything, this warehouse was that. You couldn't walk down the aisles. There were boxes 6 feet, 7 feet high. You couldn't even tell where an aisle was. It was a warehouse that was unkept, unorganized, like there had been a hoarder in that warehouse keeping everything they've had in leftover boxes forever. Is that pretty
That's
much?
very correct, yes.
That's a,
And to piggyback off that, my question is, so from that, the firefighters respond, they use the foaming agent, and so when you're saying that, with the backflow, is it because near that location there was some type of like open valve or open?
no, we think that valve in the system there at the warehouse didn't work and it backflowed.
Understood. Okay.
That's a good question, but yes, right here,
And first of all, that valve, it belonged to the warehouse, not
Yes.
the city, correct?
yes,
Okay. Also, is there enough drinking water for the next
yes,
24 hours?
yes.
How is that being provided?
Free at Lone Star Park. Line up, go get it. Now, I would say, this is sensitive, but some of you can maybe afford to go buy the water. If you can go buy it, go get you some water. We're happy to give it to you free, but there was a long line. So if you have water and have a means to go get your own water, go out and get it, but we'll provide it all night long if necessary. I'll get to you in a minute. Yes.
Have you talked to stores about restocking that? Because I've gone to several stores and,
I haven't talked to any stores.
okay.
We are supplying water through our parks department to people that can't get up there and otherwise get it.
Okay,
How are we getting it? Well, they just calling us.
Yeah, so what we have right now is we know that we have vulnerable population just like every city does. We've made notifications to a large number of self-identified vulnerable individuals, what we call a welfare check. So we've initiated our welfare checks to make sure that they have water. We have crews already a part of the city that are delivering water to those folks that are self-identifying, that are homebound, that are critical, and that can't leave their house. So we already have systems in place from our perspective to be able to provide them water. And on top of that, we still have a lot of water at our distribution site. We've already produced and given out over 276,000 bottles of water at our site. So we've got tons of water that we've already given, and we have tons of water staged, and we have more water to be able to continue to provide water to our residents throughout this process.
I would ask the residents that are watching this, if you have a neighbor that you know can't get out, go next door, knock on the door, and get them some water.
Are there any hospitals or nursing homes in that area?
No. No. Yes, ma'am.
Mayor, a good portion of your city had to be shut down today. Have you had a chance to assess the economic impact of all of
No, ma'am. I have no way of assessing that. We'll see the results of the blip 2 months from now when our sales tax numbers come in. But we do know it affected a lot of restaurants. Fortunately, not as many as we thought. It did affect my Starbucks. I had to go to another Starbucks this morning, but that's shame on me for complaining about that. But the point is, there are restaurants that shut down, but then the one across the street was able to open. It did not affect our whole city.
Can you tell me more about this foam that was used? Obviously.
It's a fire retardant foam. I would challenge any of you to Google it. It's just a fire retardant foam that agencies use nationwide. That's used pretty predominantly. Yes, ma'am.
On restaurants, are some of them just having water shipped in? Is that?
I have no idea what they're doing.
Is the city enforcing restaurants to close?
We are not forcing anybody to do anything.
I saw a notice that went out that said that restaurants in the affected area had to close, and it's on the city.
Did we say they had to close?
We said they recommended.
We did not. We said,
It said to remain closed for further notice. I'm looking at it now.
did it say they have to?
Yeah, it says due to a do not drink your tap water public notice issued today by the city of Prairie, all food service facilities
must remain closed until further notice.
I didn't know we said they have to remain closed.
Public Health and Environmental Quality Department.
Okay, I stand corrected. We usually don't tell people what they have to do. We highly recommend it. And I would recommend they do stay closed until we lift it. But I didn't know we were doing anything more than recommending.
Regarding the testing process, when's the next sample gonna be sent off to test?
It's on the way down to Houston right now. It's a big dilemma. TCEQ needs to stand up and find more agencies closer to do the appropriate testing. We're a little upset about that, and we've already told them that. We're waiting on a report from Houston.
Is there a time frame on that, or is that?
No, they're gonna get it tested. It may already be in testing right now, that we may get the results when I walk out of here. But it's either in Houston or way down there.
I know we're just 24 hours into it, but is there an internal investigation that's happening to what caused this? Or are you planning on
We,
bringing outside?
not yet. We're doing this. Chief Baldwin told you that we're gonna have to assess that afterwards and find out what caused what may have been a malfunction or a bad valve or what to cause this. That's to come later. We've all been pretty hands on deck trying to solve the current problem right now, but we'll look at that soon.
And I'm sorry, Mayor, but about this foam, it's toxic enough that when it got into the water system, people shouldn't even touch it. And I'd rather not just Google, because you know you can't trust what you get on Google. So could somebody speak to just how toxic this foam is?
Let me read you what it says. No, I can't.
I don't have those.
I would challenge you to go online, when I say Google it, go to their website and they give the description of their foam. Blaze, microblaze. Go to their website. It's not just Googling it out there, go to their website.
But I'm sorry if I missed the specific name of the foam.
Microblaze.
Microblaze, all right.
If
And
you,
it was less toxic than what was.
it's exactly what it says, but it says it could cause irritation to your eyes, don't be drinking it. It's environmentally friendly, and you may even see the words in there about it being non-toxic, but I would go to their page.
The assistant fire chief might be able to speak more to this, but could you explain to the people what that foam is?
It's a fire retardant foam.
The chief seems to be more familiar with it, so. could you
So on our apparatus, we have tanks that are filled with foam. And we introduce this foam into the actual attack lines at a 0.1% of volume. So it's just interjected directly into a fire stream, and it causes the applied water to be less viscous, which allows it to penetrate materials more readily.
Like you
So-
called earlier, so
so-
great wetting agent.
It's a wetting agent that
Yep.
allows it to penetrate baled materials and stuff like that we were encountering inside of that structure. That's it.
So this is something you have a lot of knowledge of.
I have knowledge of it, a lot of knowledge. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
very specific for that.
Do you feel that, no, you shouldn't be drinking it or bathing, but
Like I've said before, it's biodegradable.
I think
but
we're gonna be safe.
I would not
Don't drink it, don't shower in it,
Yeah.
but we know people did last night and they're okay.
Do we know, what caused the fire and was the warehouse
Oh,
currently?
The
my-
fire's still under investigation.
We don't know that yet.
Was the warehouse, currently?
It was occupied,
It was.
yes. No injuries. The fire itself is still under investigation.
We'll take a couple more questions. Somebody has not asked.
How often do you use the phone?
For an industrial application, not that often. More readily, we use it for mostly residential fires because it goes directly into our attack lines. And so we do use it. We use it on fuel spills because this particular foam, we can actually apply directly to a fuel spill, and it is biodegradable, so we just wash it off the roadway, and then it just absorbs into the earth without any environmental problem.
I mean, that's the good news, folks. These people that make this foam have worked real hard at developing chemicals that help our fire department that are biodegradable. And they feel like it's safe to get on, not only down the drain, but when you're in a house, we don't have to go in and dig it up and clean it up afterwards. Very biodegradable, environmentally friendly. We're just being extremely cautious, and so is TCEQ. The safety of your water supply systems, very important. So that's why the TCEQ, anytime you have any sort of contamination, you're waiting on them to say you're good to go. One more. Yes?
You mentioned photos of the fire yesterday. Is that something that could be made available?
I don't have photos of them. The photo I was shown wasn't of the fire, it was of the hoarder conditions that was outside, so we'll see if we can get that out and show you.
All right.
That may be crime scene. Thank you all, thank you. Again, citizens, check on your neighbors. Dr. Arredondo, thank you for coming. Have you all made a decision yet about tomorrow?
We're waiting on the information.
That's what I felt, and that we're waiting on the information, and so, because he, like us, he wants his children to go to school, but we want them to be safe. So thank you for being here, Dr. Arredondo. Thank you all for coming.